what if I went all in on the bodybuilding? She pushed and urged me to always pursue more. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't go on a crazy diet. I just started moving more and I stopped eating out. I stopped eating sugar. I can't believe that I got second place. Oh, I'm training like a pro. I gotta recover like a pro. In the morning, I would write 3 times, I'm an IFBB pro. I'm an IFBB pro. I'm an IFBB pro. 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night. I practiced my gratitude as if I had already gotten what I want. I got 3rd call outs. Super humiliating, but it's okay because I got to see how much growth I needed. 3rd show, got my pro card. It's like, hey, now I'm in the pro league. Now I'm back at the bottom. I'm such a failure, like had kind of that spiral for a minute. When you are in it mentally and like food is your escape, it feels so lonely.
Welcome back to Grow with Joe. We're excited to meet with Madison Katsilas.
I'm so happy to be here.
IFBB Pro bodybuilder. And we are going to dig into a little bit of her background, see what makes her tick. I appreciate you being here today. Let's start with from the beginning. So Madison, your family. Tell me a little bit about your family.
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you so much for inviting me to be on this podcast. I love Grow Muscle. I love Clear Path, everything that it stands for, just super aligning with who I am. So super grateful, blessed. About my family though, I'm the oldest of a mixed family. So I have 1 full blood brother. I have a half sister and a step brother. So I have one of each.
But you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest. Yep.
Full set.
Yep. And born and raised in Logan, Utah, small town, grew up riding dirt bikes, being outside, had lots of animals and played all the sports. So you can say I was kind of a tomboy growing up. And for most of my life, my mother was kind of a single mom. Like she was the reason that I did so much. She pushed and urged me to always pursue more. And she proved to me that like, if you want to do something, you can go out and do it. She was like the epitome of just a go-getter. Didn't wait for anybody. Like if she wanted to go kayak on a river one day, she'll do it. So I grew up having that as my example to look at and admire.
How much of an age gap do you have between you and your brother?
Me and my brother, we have 5 years, so we're pretty tight. I love my little brother. And then my stepbrother, we have 6 months. So we were pretty close in age, caused a lot of fights. It's fine. Like who is a superior sibling? Clearly me. It's fine.
Right.
Sorry, Jesse. And then my stepsister, my stepsister, she's half sister on my dad and my stepmom's side. We have a 9-year gap. So I have a good age gap between them all.
At what point in your life did they blend? Did you become one family?
Early on, like seven years old was when kind of all of that blended.
So you've always kind of grown together.
Yes. Super blessed to have them in my life. Love them all. We're all pretty tight.
Now, you didn't mention something that I think is a pretty big deal.
Oh.
Your musical ability.
Oh my gosh.
How old were you when that started?
I was also 7 years old.
Okay.
Yes, I love to play the viola. The viola was something that just stood out to me that was different. And I was all about being different. I wanted to stand out.
Did you start with the viola? Because I know a lot of times there's so many violin players that eventually there comes a point where some kind of pivot. Yeah. You started from the beginning with viola.
From the beginning. Huh. From day one, I knew that I wanted to play the viola and that was my path. And I'm glad I did. I always knew that there was more opportunity with the viola, or like easier opportunity because they were more in demand. There was less of us. Right. So scholarship opportunities like quartet, orchestra opportunities, it was just more abundant, or I wouldn't say more abundant, but just an easier path, I guess you can say. So yeah, it definitely opened up a lot of doors for me stepping into
from 7 years old.
Yeah.
That's a lot of experience.
It's incredible. I was on the Utah Youth Symphony.
Okay.
So all in high school, drove down every Saturday morning after staying up all night, going to the football games Friday night. I would have to wake up so early and drive down to Salt Lake from Logan every Saturday to come and practice for Utah Youth. So kind of a fun life.
Yeah.
Had dueling, opposing lives because I had my sports on one hand and then the viola on the other, and they just kind of
Renaissance woman.
Yeah. Guess I'm well-rounded in that way.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome. So you're a bodybuilder. Were there athletics that led you into bodybuilding?
Yeah. I was always very active growing up and loved sports. My parents always, they gave me all the opportunities that I wanted. And I'm so blessed and grateful. So I always had that like competitive drive. And as I got older, you know, you stop playing the sports, you graduate high school, you graduate college, and you kind of move forward. And where that is such a big part of your life, you kind of have an identity shift or an identity crisis because you don't have those things kind of like grounding you and solidifying you in that identity. So I had a cousin growing up that did bodybuilding. And I was like, whoa, that is so cool. She's jacked, like beautiful, just carried herself so well. And I really admired that. And out of high school and college, I got into like more CrossFit and I started kind of getting into weightlifting. I was in strength and conditioning programs all throughout high school. And so like I kind of had that background of lifting, but I was never truly like hypertrophy style training. It was more like functional training and just training to stay strong. I had injuries that I needed to keep up on. And so, yeah, when I moved down to Salt Lake, I kind of had that identity crisis because I didn't really have my CrossFit anymore because I had that in Logan and I didn't have my normal routine. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? So my boyfriend, which now husband, he got me into the gym and started introducing me to more of like the hypertrophy style training and kind of picked my cousin's brain about bodybuilding. She sent me her programs. Mind you, I did not look at them. She sent them to me and I thought that I was going to use them, but I didn't know what I was looking at. Like I was so into it, like just doing my thing that like, maybe I'll go back one day and do the program. But yeah, my husband got me into the gym and we started going more consistently. We did 75 hard. And that was kind of like my first step in the door of like consistency, like true nonstop, like for that 75 days, it was like, oh my gosh, like there's something here. Like if I could do that, walk out in the snow for my outside workout, like I can do anything.
Right.
Like, cause Utah weather's no joke. And doing that in the middle of winter, there were some days that I was like, what am I doing? So after seeing my progress doing 75 hard, it was very eye-opening. And mind you, I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't go on a crazy diet. I just started moving more and I stopped eating out. I stopped eating sugar and I had a big change. And it wasn't like I was overweight, but that change alone was like, oh my gosh, like what more is my body capable of? If I can do this for 75 days and see this change, like, what if I went all in on the bodybuilding and, you know, just truly gave it my all?
I love that.
And if I like it, then I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
But if I don't, then I can say that I've done it. I've tried it. So, you know, time goes on and it's always been kind of in the back of my mind. And I was working at a bar at the time and my manager was a bodybuilder. So it was like, I had these few people in my life that were bodybuilders and I was like, that's so cool. Started talking to her and I was like, you know, like I want to do a show. And she's like, well, I happen to be a coach. Do you want me to coach you? And I was like, yeah, like, let's do it. Let's run it. So it was literally, I think January 3rd that I decided I'm doing a show. Like, this is my New Year's resolution. I was kind of lost and floating at the time and I didn't really have any New Year's resolutions. And I was like, what a perfect time to do this and just give it my all. And put my heart and soul into something. So I started, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. But in that moment, I just told her, yes, like, give me my plan tomorrow and I'll start. I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
All I knew is like, I said yes to something, and it's history from there. So that was like very long-winded story.
So January, I can't help but get past this because I think about how long it takes to prepare for a show. What show were you preparing for that you started in January? When did you actually get on the stage?
So I started, which thank goodness for my background of like CrossFit and like starting to be more consistent in the gym. Like I had a pretty good base of muscle,
right?
That I didn't have to go into like any crazy bulk. I was able to just start my cut right away and get ready. So January of 2023 is when we started, and I was aiming for April. I was aiming for Wasatch Warrior. That was my first show, which is the local show here, like the biggest local show.
Olympia qualifier.
Yeah, an Olympia qualifier. And I had no expectations. I was like, I just want to do it. Like, it just sounds so fun. So yeah, I got my plan the next day, and
wait a minute. So your first show, you took overall?
I didn't take the overall. I took second to the girl that won the overall. My second show later that year, I took the overall.
That year. Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that you had a show before that, because I think back to that 2023 and I'm like, wait a minute, you took overall that year.
So April 2023 was my first show. I did true novice, and open.
January on the stage in April.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was,
and you came in
so
second.
Cool. I did. Yeah. It was incredible. And the girl who won the overall, she looked incredible. And I was like so ecstatic. I was like, I can't believe that I got second place. Like, you know, just the joy of being there. And I feel like so many people get so out in the weeds and like get so down on themselves about not getting first or winning the overall. And it's like, honey, like, just enjoy the journey. I was just so happy to be there. I was like, I did the thing that I said I was going to do. And that instilled so much confidence.
I saw an interview recently where Ronnie Coleman, somebody was complaining about something, and he just started saying, where were you to complain when I came in 15th? And then when I came in 11th? And then when I came in 9th? And I'm thinking, Ronnie Coleman? Like, to me, he's like the greatest bodybuilder ever. If I ever interview anybody else, I apologize if I said that, but I really do. I think Ronnie's the best. But it is, there's a lot of psychological, yes, you are competing against yourself, but then you're thrown up on the stage and you don't know in advance who necessarily you're going to be up against. And so psychologically, that would be really hard. You've got this phenomenal package that you bring to the table, and you don't do as well as you think that you deserve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even more so to kill it.
Yeah.
Same thing. You didn't know who you were going to be up against.
It was a very cool experience. And I drank the Kool-Aid. I was bought in. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I feel like I did so good for my first show. So I was like, let's just keep going. Like, I'm having too much fun. I don't want to stop this. So I took a little bit of time off, worked my calories back up, tried to put on a little bit more muscle just to improve a little bit. I definitely could have been a little bit leaner. Now with my first show, like, you learn so much. And I'm an IFBB Bikini Pro. My first show, I did wellness.
Oh, really?
I did wellness. I was like, my legs are big. I'm a soccer girl. Like,
at the Wasatch Warrior?
Wasatch.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got first in that class, but there was also one other girl in my class. So it was like, okay, it's whatever. But anywho, I obliged, and I entered into bikini and wellness just to see where I felt. And by the time I was lean, I definitely did better in the bikini category.
Okay.
It was a pretty stacked class, and like bikini is always competitive. Like, there's always so many girls.
Right.
So I was ecstatic that I got second to the overall girl. And I was like, okay, like, I think that I have the physique, like, let's improve upon it. So took some time off and then came back in November 2023, the same year. And in Vegas. And I won double overall. I won overall in open and overall in novice. And that was so cool. I was like, wow, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Like, this is the coolest experience ever. And
there were some pretty amazing competitors on that stage.
always.
Yeah.
Like, you never know who you're going to be up against. And it's just so humbling to see who shows up. And there's just so much gratitude. Like, all of us have suffered to some degree. And the banter backstage is so fun. Like, it's just a very supportive environment. And
Which
we've
is
all
weird.
made it. We've all made it.
Yeah.
Regardless of the placing, we've made it.
Yeah. Growing up during the golden age of bodybuilding, those were my idols. And I watched these rivalries where they're kind of fighting each other on the stage. And so it's interesting to see from the bikini side, there really is so much support and camaraderie. And it almost wasn't what I expected. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I still keep in touch with the girls that I've competed with. Like, we still are like cheering each other on and watching each other's journeys. And like, I'm friends with these girls still years and years later. And I'm just like, wow, this community has brought me some of the coolest people and the best community and friends that I could have ever asked for. Truly.
That's awesome. That's what I've experienced that I wasn't used to. When I came to Origin, it's very much a bodybuilding community. And at first I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I fit in, but nobody treated me that way. Everybody, you know what I mean? I had to step up my game. And it's funny because I'll go to other corporate gyms and there's like the big man on campus, the big woman on campus. And I'm thinking, you don't even know, like, you're comfortable right there because you don't have any competition.
Yeah.
But yeah. I see the phenomenal competition at the highest level, and there's so much support and there's so much expectation. It's addicting.
It is. You're surrounded by greatness.
Yeah.
And you have no choice but to be great.
Yeah.
And to level up.
Yeah. We had the same coach, and I see him do hip thrusts with 800 pounds, like unbelievable feats of strength for nothing. Like, he's not doing it to show off, or it's not a competition, but you're like, that's 800 pounds. Like, most places you can't even put that much weight on that machine,
It's true. It's wild.
Yeah.
Like old man strength is what I call it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That dude's a freak.
Yeah.
We love him.
So that was your second show. Did you have to take any time off to prepare for the next season? Did you change anything about, like, you just took overall, like, obviously you're there.
Yeah.
This is working.
Yeah.
What did you get any feedback and say, I want to do this? I didn't bring this package to the table that I wanted, or?
Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah. So after the show, after winning the overall, I immediately got feedback from the judge, and she's like, you need to work on this, this, and this. And I was like, okay, there's our direction. My coach was there with me, or my coach was there for my first show, not my second show. So I called my coach and was like, hey, this is what the head judge said that we need to work on. Immediately put that plan in action, took time to grow and just try to build as much as we could. And at the time, like, I wasn't taking any PEDs. Like, I wasn't taking anabolics or like steroids or anything.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I got to give this my all. I got to take enough time away from stage to put on the proper mass so I can come in competitive, because we want to go to a national level show. And we were aiming for North Americans.
Okay.
So North Americans is usually end of August, beginning of September every year. So I think we had from November, I think I started my prep in June or May. So we had a pretty long prep, but I had like those few months to try to build. And luckily we did put on a little bit of muscle. And my first national show, it was a daydream. It was awesome. Everything about it was so just like seamless. And we flew my coach out there, and we got an Airbnb. My husband was there, and it was just so much fun. And just having her there, it was incredible. So yeah, I went to North Americans and won the overall there. Got my pro card.
Got your pro card, yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty surreal. I was like, what the crap?
Man,
like,
this is insane. Like you're literally saying basically
you're saying insane. I think it's insane too.
Yeah.
Because the amount of talent that was there, I was like, me? What do you mean?
I mean, that being said, I know what you look like, and that doesn't surprise me. In fact, I've learned a little bit. And so at the last Wasatch Warrior, I remember I was talking to one of the athletes' dads, and he says, well, she knows that her glute tie-ins aren't that. And I'm thinking, how do you, and then sure enough, they came out on the stage, and all I was looking at was her glute tie-ins, and I recognized that the other girls had it.
Yeah.
And she didn't. And it was like, oh, that's so painful.
Mm-hmm. So you know what to look for now. When you go to a show, you're like, okay, she's got the glute tie-in, she's got the shoulders, she's got the small waist, like.
Well, and because Wasatch Warrior is an Olympia qualifier, you have people that come in from all over the world. And so you see the pros get up there and you see the difference in the muscular definition. And it's interesting because one of the things about bikini is, yes, you do want to get lean like everything else, but you can be penalized for being too lean.
It's true.
You need to have soft edges, soft muscle. And that's brutal because I saw my competitors preparing to go into it and they're ripped to shreds. And I'm like, how in the world are you going to hide those striations? How, you know what I mean? And somehow they get up there and they ate the right number of Rice Krispie discs with honey on them.
You peaked them correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a moving target, bikini. Like oftentimes you'll hear coaches say like it is the hardest thing to coach because based on the judging panel, every judge kind of prefers a different look. Like some prefer the super grainy, hard look, whereas others prefer more of the soft, bubbly, feminine look.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know exactly how to come in.
And in fact, regionally it's different because our first pro, she competed locally and she came in second. And her coach specifically said, you have the figure that would do really well at nationals. Yeah. And so we got her to nationals and she got her pro card at nationals.
This is Tony.
Yeah, this is Tony.
See, me and Tony we were in the same class.
Oh, really?
I have pictures with Tony up on stage.
No.
She was in my same class.
Wow.
For North Americans.
Yeah.
She was there. She clapped for me when she watched me get my pro card.
Yeah.
Like I was so happy that she was there. Just like a local girl, like us just there cheering each other on. And yeah, she was there and she looked incredible. So cool.
That's one of the things that has allowed me to kind of make this shift is I've known Tony for years and she's just phenomenal human being. You know what I mean? And I think, well, that's because she's special. And then you get around this community and you're like, oh, this community creates these special people.
It's true. It's true. It's very special having her be there with me and like family, you know?
Yeah.
So
I didn't know you were there. That's so crazy. I'm gonna have to look back at the pictures.
I'll have to send you some.
Didn't even know you were there. Yeah. Okay. So for those who don't know bodybuilding, they don't really understand all the depth that's involved. Like they just think, okay, you had this athletic background. And so then obviously you starved yourself and then you got up there being 2% body fat, but there's so much more to it than that. So walk us through during this time. Did you have the same coach for all of this, all the way up until your pro card? Or were there other coaches that you worked with besides nutrition? What were some other things? Because I know massage starts to become important and different modalities, like besides nutrition, you start working on your mind, which people don't think that that's involved in it.
Yes. I love this question. It's definitely a loaded question. And yeah, it's a huge learning curve when you're an amateur and you're trying to work your way up to a pro qualifier. And I would say the biggest change from the first time winning my overall in November of 2023 to winning the overall at North Americans and getting my pro card was I did so many different little things like the body work. That's a huge, huge part. Like, oh, I'm training like a pro. I got to recover like a pro. So I started taking that into account, and I really do think that helped.
Yeah. You think you're just being pampered, but it
it's
makes
brutal.
A difference.
It is brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Like anyone who's gotten true body work, it is
deep
not
tissue work.
It's not something that you look forward to. Like it is a very painful thing. Like, especially when you're training so hard and you're just running yourself ragged, like you get bound up tissue, and it's super important to release that. And so, yeah, I definitely prioritized that. I would go a couple times a month and just keep that like at the forefront of recovery, just to keep me in this sport as long as possible. Because I realized, like, if I'm not on top of that, like my body's going to start fighting against me.
Right.
And I don't want that so early on. Like I want to, especially with the posing.
Yeah.
Posing takes a big toll on your body, and having to twist and contort yourself. Body work it goes hand in hand. If you're posing as much as you are, like for hours a week, like you need the body work to help release that. So I think that was kind of the biggest shift there, as far as like the recovery side of things. And I'm trying to think like what else.
With posing, to me, part of being a pro is making it look simple, making it look like you're happy. Like, but you start realizing they're flexing throughout this whole movement. And if anyone has ever tried to hold a flex for that amount of time, it is painful.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
You start cramping up.
Yeah.
You start breathing heavy, but then you're not supposed to breathe heavy, because then it
Right.
like you look more relaxed. It's just, you're tight up there, but you have to maintain a relaxed composure, and you just smile and act like you're having fun.
Right.
And that is like such an important thing. So I teach, I'm a posing coach.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things up there is acting like you have fun.
Yeah.
It should be fun. This is like you've made it.
And it really does make you stand out, because I see everyone kind of going through the same motions, but I see one little tick of personality that someone throws in there, and it's like you stand out.
Yes, you can't keep your eyes off them.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want the judges to just be captivated by your energy and your confidence. Like you have to be poised, cool, calm, and collected. You own the stage.
Yeah.
And so posing was a big part of it leading up to getting my pro card. And a lot of that was visualization. Every day I wrote in my journal. I had like a prayer journal that I would do, like my brain dumping, my gratitude, my prayers, visualization. And I wrote every day. I did like a 3-6-9 method. In the morning, I would write 3 times, I'm an IFBB pro. I'm an IFBB pro. I'm an IFBB pro. 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night.
No,
it was constantly on my mind. And
yet you hear like some of the biggest teams in the world, the Lakers, that was one of the things, visualization was one of the things that was added in.
Swear by it. Visualizing your routine and visualizing that day from start to finish. It's like when it happens, you've already lived it. And it's like you don't have any bad expectations. Like the energy is there and you are gifted that day. It's like you've already lived this. Here you go.
The crazy thing is, I think someday the science is going to become a lot more clear to us, and it will be able to be defined as this is a quantum physics experiment.
Joe Dispenza. So this is where I actually got this practice of like visualizing and like seeing, feeling, smelling, like all the emotions and the physical aspects to what you want. And I'd practiced it years before and it worked. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to apply that here as well, because I really want this goal. And so I visualized, I wrote it every day. I practiced my gratitude as if I had already gotten what I want. I would say, thank you, God, so much. I'm so grateful that I am an IFBB pro. Thank you so much for blessing me with shining your light up on stage and just sharing in the abundance of health and giving me that calm, collected state and connecting with others and showing others that they can do it. I wrote that every day in my journal. So it was like by the time show day came, I wasn't nervous. I wasn't. Yeah, I had already won.
Yeah.
I literally, when I get home, I'm going to send you a picture.
Okay.
Because I wrote on, like in my journal, like, and your overall winner, Madison Katsilas, a new IFBB Pro. And I even wrote the pose that I did with my trophy in my hand,
right?
How I looked, what I was smelling, what the lights looked like, what my makeup, what my stage presence looked like. I wrote every little detail, like down to the smell.
Okay, so I have to know, you did this before the Vegas one too, because I remember, you have that clip and I watched it and I remember thinking it didn't even surprise her.
No.
Yeah, they just announced, you're up there with all of these beautiful women and they announce it and your husband goes crazy because, he's the one filming it, But I was like, you're not jumping up and down. You just go over and get crowned. You know what I mean?
It's like just talking about it, like this presence washes over me and it's just like, it's just so crazy because like it really does work and putting that energy out there and
in essence, it's faith.
It is.
It's faith.
It is.
In a truth.
And so many girls get so worked up on show day that they are like looking around at all the other girls and comparing. I was already the winner. Why did I need to sit and look around and compare? I camped out in my little corner with my feet up, my music in. I was listening to Tosh Sultana, my favorite artist, just in my own zone. I knew I'd already won. I was so calm. It was like, I'm here to get my trophy. And it wasn't like, I wasn't all, like arrogant. There's
no.
Some people can be arrogant about it, like cocky, but it was like, I am so proud of all of us here. Like I'm still going to connect with these girls backstage, but until we are backstage, I'm going to be in my zone, like just zoned out, dialed in. And there was also this moment of connection with this girl backstage before we went on stage and we prayed together. There's actually a big faith community in bodybuilding that I didn't even know was a thing until I started bodybuilding.
It's interesting because I've heard a few different people where they feel like it almost conflicts with their faith. Like they should be ashamed that this is what they're doing. And I think, why would you think that? You've taken this temple and beautified it by discipline and by hard work and by lots of effort, which is basically what we are taught. We are to magnify what we've been given, whether it's the work that we're doing or whether it's the body that we've been given.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that. I like to hear that.
It's a blessing. We're so grateful to be able to be stewards over our own health and wellness and to, truly live out how we are intended as whole humans.
And the other ironic thing is, I don't like continually talking about this, but one of the weird things about surviving a terminal illness is the very first thing they look at whether your chances of surviving is your muscle mass.
Really?
Yeah, literally. Like, because I remember my surgeon, we just found out, and my surgeon was measuring something on the CAT scan, and I knew it was in my back, and I said, "Do I have cancer in my back?" And she says, "Oh, no. We measure this obscure muscle in your back to determine your survivability." And she's like, "Oh, you're going to be fine." And I thought, what does that have to do with anything? You know what I mean? Like you'd think it had to do with diet or it had to do with all of these other things. But the reality is you're trying to out survive these poisonous, this cancer in your body, and it's killing everything. And so if you don't have something like muscle mass that takes longer to kill, you may not out survive that cancer.
Wow.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way. Yeah. And then like even, I'm on the transplant floor afterwards and it was an 8-hour surgery, completely rearranged my guts. And the doctor's like, "Okay, I need you up and walking around the floor." So I've got 2 IV poles walking around the ward. And then the next day he comes in and he puts 5 boxes and he says, I want you to check off each one of these boxes every time you go around. And it was a little frustrating. And I got kind of angry and I said, I'm going to do more times around this floor than anyone's ever done. And no one will ever beat me. So I think I did 32 laps. You know what I mean? But it's kind of that, wow. That's also this survival. You're used to doing hard things. You're used to it sucking and still doing it anyway. And so it's just another battlefield. It's just another stage.
Do you really you feel like having the proper muscle really helped put you ahead?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Incredible.
Because there were several times they actually misdiagnosed me. My doctor told me, he said, I couldn't go this aggressive with anybody else. I'd lose my license. They went with the most aggressive chemo. And it damaged a couple things in the process, but we're still going.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
It truly does show that muscle is the longevity organ.
And never mind the fact we're beginning to find out about happy molecules being released by our muscles.
Yeah.
Our muscles do so much more than just move us. I mean, never mind the fact that if you can't get up and move around, you're going to atrophy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the battle's against is.
You're going to have a hard life.
Yeah.
Clearly, because if you get any sickness and you don't have that muscle mass to help fight it.
Well, and mentally, I think the other thing is, I think more people give up on themselves. I think that's more harmful than anything else. And if you're used to not just settling with what everybody else is doing, I remember getting really discouraged when other people would have cancer and they're just like, oh, I'm not going to make it. I'm like, I'm stage 4. I'm terminal. Nothing worked. I'm not giving up. I mean, at first it was like, I get to be done. This world is kind of crappy sometimes. I'm ready to go. Right. And then I thought, my wife, my daughter's really young, even though the first thing I did was look at money and say, okay, they're going to be okay because of this policy. And then I started thinking about it. And I have a niece that was about the age of my daughter. And she did not have an easy life, not having a dad. And I thought, okay, I can't do that. So anyway, we've completely sidetracked completely off of bodybuilding, but
it all coincides.
Yeah, the muscle mass, very important for survival.
Wow. Dude, you're incredible. That is so crazy. Doctor's like, we're just going to do the harshest thing on you and you're going to be just fine.
You'll
just
be fine,
buddy.
You got this. So I didn't have to do that. Well, I guess I did have to do that, but I didn't have a choice. You had a choice and you kept going.
Yeah.
So now that you have your pro card, you're still not done. This wasn't one of those bucket list items like, okay, I got my pro card.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
It's been a long journey, honestly. It's crazy that I've been away from stage for so long. But right after I got my pro card, the feedback that I got was go to a pro show. Go immediately. Go see how you stack up against other pros. So I did. Let me tell you, very humbling. Very humbling. And I think that was the biggest slap to the face of okay, you're in it now. You want
These are your peers.
Yes. Here you go. This is what you get to work towards, which thank God I got that opportunity. Because if I would have just won North Americans, I would have been on my high horse. I wouldn't have gotten off. I would have been like, I'm good. Yeah. I can just kind of coast. And I'm very much that person. Once I feel like I've kind of done the thing, I coast. And that's why bodybuilding has given me so much fulfillment in life and purpose is keeps me on my toes.
Yeah.
So
what was the pro show that you went to see?
I went to Sasquatch Pro up in Washington a couple weeks after winning North Americans. And I got third call outs. Super humiliating, but it's okay because I got to see how much growth I needed and how much more to look forward to. So in all reality,
you just got your pro card.
Yeah.
And a lot of the pros have been doing it for years.
Olympians.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was really a cool experience. And I also realized that this wasn't really just like a fun thing anymore at that level. Like people took it way more serious. It was like a job.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like a job. And so having to shift that, like, I don't think I was ready mentally going into that show. It was a lot more, scary.
Yeah.
Just to be at that next level. Cause like I had climbed the ladder pretty fast. Third show, got my pro card. It's like, hey, now I'm in the pro league. Now I'm back at the bottom.
Yeah.
So it was very humbling and cool to see though, and gave me a new scent of like fire and like go get 'em attitude. It's like, okay, we're not done. We continue. So I started my off season, and yeah, it was kind of a hard off season. I did not really follow my plan, my reverse very well. And that's still something.
Explain to people what a reverse is. Not everybody understands what a reverse is.
Yeah, after dieting down for so long, you've been in a calorie deficit. Like you are not eating very many calories. You're doing a ton of cardio, just a ton of output for not very much input. And so you have to give your body food slowly and work your way up and not gain so much fat back. Because if you go from such a low deficit to, we're back at like all this food, your body doesn't really know how to process that. Like your metabolism slows down in the meantime in that calorie deficit. So you have to slowly amp it back up and give the body more nourishment, more healing, and slowly work your way up. So it's important to follow your reverse so you don't put on a large amount of unnecessary fat. And as a newer competitor, that was really hard. Like I did not feel like I was a pro. Pros have their shit together. Like they don't mess up their reverse. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm such a failure. Like I had kind of that spiral for a minute. Didn't really know how to get out of it. And I think I just needed a shift, a change in my training, just different. So then I reached out to Alex, and he actually approached me. He knew I was going to win the overall at North Americans before I did.
Wow.
Like he had called it, even though I was riding it, like there's still that. Yeah. He knew that I was going to win it. So after I won, I went back to Origin and we chatted, and he's like, listen, I think you could be a really good coach. Like you should think about like mentoring. Like I want to mentor you. And I was like, that'd be really cool. Like you're an incredible coach. Like I would love to be mentored by you. So started mentoring under Alex, like right after my pro debut. And I saw the way that he coached, and I was like, like, will you be my coach too? Like I get to double dip here.
Yeah.
I get to shadow you all day, every day. And then I also get to see programming that is specific to me.
Yeah.
So he definitely put me through a little bit more of like a keto sort of approach, get some health markers back, and just getting me eating a lot of food. Yeah. I was eating more than I had ever eaten and training my ass off. I was training my ass on is what I guess. I was so sore. And I realized that like after learning the way that Alex trained, I can never go back. I was training like a little bitch. I was like, oh my gosh. Like he doesn't believe in a bunch of junk volume. He's like, just get in, get to the point, like get in and do your hard sets. Like have intention behind your training and work hard.
I'm lucky enough to work with Alex, and it's been a very long time since I worked out so hard that I needed to throw up.
Did you throw up?
I didn't throw up. I'm proud of myself for not throwing up. But I do remember the first workout with him. When he says to failure, it is next level failure. It's not what I thought failure was. Failure for me was about 15 reps before. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah.
You have a tear shedding. You're
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Tears of joy as I'm giggling through the pain. Yeah.
It was a cool experience to have that and like just genuinely have something new in my training to give me that sense of like hope and encouragement. And there was no way that I was coming in and it was not going to be an option to get third call outs. Like I wanted to come undeniable. And so we've been building ever since. And
so did anything else change? You still did your journaling. You still
did my journaling.
Did what you told yourself in your journal stay the same? You now have your pro card.
Yeah.
The gratitude was still there.
The gratitude was still there. Like I still practice that and I still visualize it. I guess the biggest thing that changed is like just working with Alex and having that extra level of detail and requiring excellence of myself. Like,
I had been lifting for 40 years and I felt like a child again. I'm like, I wish I would have met you when I was 14.
It's all new and learning different movement patterns. I had to retrain the way that I was thinking around training.
Yeah.
Like it was extremely difficult. I was like, Alex, are you sure? I questioned him and I pushed back.
I know.
I'm definitely the problem child.
I was cutting.
Yeah.
And he's like, because I think he could tell that I kind of plateaued. And he is like, you need to have a high carb day. And if you still lose weight, you need to add another high carb day. And I use ketosis also. And I'm panicked because I've been in ketosis for 6 months. Like I don't want to kick myself out of it.
Carbs?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
A day of carbs, not a meal of carbs, but a day of carbs. And so I was too afraid to get on the scale. It took me, and I lost 7 more pounds.
7?
And I'm like, I had plateaued completely, dirty. And all of a sudden I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. There's no way.
He has retrained so many thinking patterns that I had in the past. Like my last preps, when I first got into it, it was very like structured, very regimented. Like you do fasted cardio, you do 30 minutes fasted, 30 minutes after. And it's like, there was no like flexibility there really. And what I'm learning with Alex is like, there's a lot more flexibility, and that is like the true name of the game. When you do reach that level is having that flexibility, having more longevity. So I had to reframe my thought patterns of like, oh, like I can do cardio, but it looks different. Like it doesn't have to be fasted. And he prefers it to not be fasted, especially as women. Yeah. We have delicate hormones, my guy. Like we need to protect them. And sometimes fasted state is not always best.
Right.
So I had to like retrain myself with that thinking. And yeah, it's been a journey, and learning how to be okay with like eating a crap load of fats for more keto base, and learning the different why behind things. And it's taught me how to be a better coach and the more functional side of things and why we do things certain ways. And yeah, it's been very eye-opening. It's
funny because my last training session with Alex, he's usually yelling at you, screaming like, go, 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 keep going. Well, Maddie's right next to me I think you're on the stair stepper, and she chimes in, push it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was awesome.
That was epic.
Yeah.
You were struggling on those.
Yeah.
You worked hard for sure. It's cool to see just being in that environment. It makes you so inspired.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes.
So what's next for Maddie? I know that there was a little bit of a pivot, I guess, with moving to Florida.
Yes.
And that was kind of when we first met. You were just leaving for Florida, but now you're back.
I am.
So what's next for Maddie?
I guess we can kind of rewind. So towards the end of last year, I was getting ready to like make my rookie run and like do quite a few shows and hopefully qualify for the Olympia, because like that's the goal, right?
Right.
Then we moved to Florida. So we decided to pull out of the show. And that's something also, like as a competitor, you can't be so attached to these shows and like have your identity be so solid with competing. It's like we do bodybuilding because we love it. We love pushing ourselves and outdoing ourselves year after year. And it's not always about just getting on stage. So took a long time to bulk with Alex. When I first started with him, started cutting last year in June, and then stopped my cut around October. So I was like ready. I was so close. And the amount of growth that I had from my pro debut to this last show that we were going to do, it was incredible. I am a little sad that I wasn't able to go and like debut that physique, but I know that God has his timing and my time is coming. So as of now, we have moved back to Utah from Florida and we're so grateful to be home. So now we're just kind of building my calories back up, trying to get to a healthier spot, letting my central nervous system re-regulate to being home and find my groove again, because a wound up athlete is never going to perform well. And especially if we want to do multiple shows, I have to be in a good place.
So now this is something new to me. I've heard about this, but I haven't really thought that much about how do you re-regulate a nervous system?
Yeah.
Like are you looking at specific behaviors, or are you taking things out so that everything calms down and becomes more peaceful?
That's a good question. And sometimes it is taking things out. For me, I am very much an emotional eater. And that's something I'm still struggling with. Like it's something that isn't talked about a ton because it's very shamed in the bodybuilding space. So regulating my nervous system so I don't feel like I need to resort to food as my comfort, and getting my mind to a place where I feel more solid in who I am, like back in my normal routine and not so flustered and like just scrambling, trying to just be grounded. And so, yeah, right now we brought cardio down. So I'm not having so much expenditure and just trying to get back to peace, just peace in mind, because we beat ourselves up.
Yeah.
And that's never going to end well if you're continuously fighting your mind. And I was, the beginning of this.
It does become a normal state because it's been going on for so long.
Exactly. And I had been trying to stay in prep, like basically since the beginning of this year.
Oh,
and
man.
it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And being in Florida,
time.
like also not having your support system, that is so big on your nervous system. Like that regulation. I feel like I was more in sympathetic, just trying to survive, trying to get my groove, trying to just figure out who I was out there.
Yeah.
So now that I'm back home, it's like, okay, we can take a breath, get back into parasympathetic, get back to a normal wake sleep cycle, not rely on so much caffeine to get me through the day. That's a big thing. And getting around the people that you love, getting back to like a regular faith practice and pray and meditation. And it's all the woo-woo things that people think, but it's like that, it works.
It's important. Yeah.
And most importantly, just like getting my food habits back on track and feeling more stable there. So when prep starts, I don't feel so crazy attached to food, because like food is what keeps bodybuilding going, you know? Like
I love watching people's Instagrams as they go into prep because it's all food.
It is.
Yeah, it's there was a point where my stomach stopped working. They took a portion of it. So for a month, like I didn't even know your stomach could stop working. And my algorithm for everything on social media was, as soon as my stomach starts working, I'm going to try this. And as soon as my stomach starts working, I'm going to try this.
No, I tell my competitors, don't do the food porn.
Yeah.
It's so damaging. It's so damaging. I don't think
I've done any of those recipes. Well, I did do one of them. Unfortunately, it was, what sous vide is when you cook meat in the water.
Amazing.
He's like, well, your dishwasher is perfect for that. You can sous vide. And so I had like 12 prime rib steaks. Yes.
Get out of here.
I boiled prime rib in the dishwasher.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't know it was either. Evidently, so don't trust TikTok, but.
Well, did it work?
No, it absolutely didn't work. It boiled them.
No. All those prime ribs just down the drain.
I know. Anyway.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just trying to get back to a regulated state and feeling like myself and just like happy.
Are you there yet?
We are.
Okay,
we are.
good.
I'm finally feeling like just myself again.
That's awesome.
And it's relieving because it's like, oh my gosh, when you are in it mentally and like food is your escape, it feels so lonely.
Yeah.
It seriously does. And like, I feel like I had to go through this in order to really relate to my lifestyle clients that like want to get from point A to B, but food is that barrier. And it's like, it helps me go through this to be a better coach and mentor to them.
Yeah.
So there's a reason for this and I'm grateful for it.
I've always felt that, having lived in another culture and eating completely differently, I really believe that food is not just nourishment. It's social, it's emotional, there's so much more to it. I was blessed with the ability to experiment with a couple different people to help them lose large amounts of weight.
Oh.
And in my mind, it was all psychological. We all have body dysmorphia. It doesn't matter who you are. I had gotten down to a point at one time where I couldn't be alone with people without them confessing their food sins. You know what I mean? But that's one of the things that I would do with them with their diet, as I'd tell them, look, we're not going to do just chicken and rice because your culture, that's not the way that you ate. That's not the way. We're going to find what works, and we can do that without taking a round peg and cramming you into a square hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think food is huge. And that's another thing actually that has shifted going from like amateur to pro is how I approach food and like how I stay on track. So when I first started out, I was doing primarily meal plan. I didn't know how many calories I was eating. I just was following the plan.
Yeah.
And now I love macros. Macros allows for more food freedom and flexibility, and you can still reach your goals.
Yeah.
It's been so freeing and so fun being able to make the different recipes and do different spin-offs. Is that the word? Spin-offs of your favorite meals.
Well, and I don't think a lot of people don't understand what meal prep as opposed to macros is. They don't realize a lot of these bodybuilders eat the exact same meals day after day after day, year after year after year. And the only thing they change is the amount of rice or the amount of protein.
Exactly.
Whereas macros, I think that's how more people expect to diet, where you're going to count your calories, you're going to count, but it definitely seems healthier because I think our bodies do crave vitamins and minerals and nutrients. Yeah. And we kind of see that through what our body craves. We don't necessarily know that this plant has this much vitamin A and we need vitamin A, but it's very evident. Like when people get pregnant, they have these strange cravings. Well, you're building a human being, and at different points in that process, that little human being needs more of this or more of that.
It's true. And you see a lot of bodybuilders that actually have a lot of gut dysbiosis because of eating the same thing. And they don't have those different micronutrients and those different vitamins and minerals that they're getting. And it causes a lot of downstream problems.
Right.
And it's just, it's sad to see because it's like you can still have best of both worlds. You can still enjoy the food you want and not have it just be chicken and rice. Like you can still get what your body needs. It's actually important to have a variety of foods and assortment of veggies, fruits to give your gut different things to feed off of. Yeah. You need the difference.
Yeah. We don't realize that there's a whole living biome in there. And that if we deplete the food source for certain parts of that biome, it dies. There's nothing to feed it. So now the only thing left is what helps digest those few things that you're constantly eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many bodybuilders aren't even getting enough fiber as well because it's just chicken and rice.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what do you mean? Like
you need lots of fiber.
You need to have good poops.
You need to have
it's
good
important.
poops.
It's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely another thing. Like I'm very passionate about like the functional health side of things too. So been taking courses and love that. We could geek out about it for so long, especially where you're kind of like, you're in that realm. Like you're into the different healing modalities. So
There's always so much more to learn.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to say, like, what was the biggest reason you wanted to formulate Grow Muscle?
Well, I mean, the biggest reason I wanted to formulate it was because I was getting older and I was working in a realm where everybody else was half my age. I loved what I was doing, but I knew I would not be able to continue doing it without some assistance. And so I had looked for a long time. I'd looked at the sports nutrients because people don't realize it, but a lot of the sport nutrients that we have readily accessible in the United States, in a lot of other countries, they're banned. And we think like, why would you ban beta alanine? Yeah. But there are places where they don't have access to beta alanine. And as I started formulating, I started looking at ingredients saying, kid in a candy store, like what ultimately do I want in there? I found out that some of these ingredients, the only difference between it and a drug is dosing, like especially the nootropics. Nootropics became sort of a big word after Limitless, the movie Limitless came out, and everyone thought, okay, well, that must be a nootropic. Some of those nootropics in high enough doses treat depression.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that was kind of fascinating. But ultimately, the whole reason that this happened was caffeine. Caffeine. I was a firefighter paramedic, and there was a bodybuilding show up at Murray High School. There was a bodybuilder who he was used to drinking. I probably shouldn't say brands, but he was used to drinking one of the tall energy drinks. And the competitor, it wasn't available, but the competitor was another tall energy drink, and it had more caffeine in it. And he drank 3 of them and had a heart attack, went into VTAC. Now, this is a chemical heart attack. So his heart's quivering, not pumping blood, but it's because of a chemical. And so the normal ways of getting that heart back to where it's supposed to be weren't available to us, and we weren't immediately aware of that. He didn't make it.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of people don't understand. It's actually kind of crazy that we make products with stimulants because so much of our life, so much of our lifestyle involves stimulants. And so you got people who are used to, their baseline is, 1,000 milligrams a day of stimulants.
Abused.
Then you got other people who you give them 200 milligrams of stimulants and they're all hopped up on Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? And so I recognize that even, especially as I'm looking at what the ingredients do, caffeine didn't do anything. And these really valuable ingredients that I wanted to use just happened to do exactly the opposite of what caffeine was, the effect that was happening from caffeine. And so there was just other ways of doing it. In traditional Chinese medicine, it's a whole paradigm shift. That's kind of a big word to say it that way, but we don't realize, being raised in the West, we have all of the thought processes of allopathic medicine or Western medicine. This is how you do this. When this happens, you take this pill. But when you're able to step outside of that and see that there's other bodies of medicine that work just as effectively, even though they may, they're not pharmaceutical, or, you know what I mean? And I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm like, if I get hit by a car, don't take me to an acupuncturist. You know what I mean? They all have their place.
There's a time and place, for sure.
But I was able to look at these Western ingredients from an Eastern paradigm in balance, where it includes mind and body. Whereas allopathic medicine really doesn't include mind and body. It's mind or body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was just that was the thought process. I was making it for me. And because me is, conflicted between these two different paradigms, how can I use these paradigms together? Like in Western medicine, to be honest, Western medicine does understand medicine horse. Medicine horse is a term in Chinese medicine where you include an ingredient that targets a tissue of the body, that you want to affect so that it takes the other ingredients and affects that tissue. Well, if you think about it, antibiotics, most people recognize that the new generation of antibiotics, the Z-Pak or Zithromax, Zithromax is kind of like a dump truck.
Yes.
You don't take it 3 times a day for 10 days like you did. You take a potent amount of antibiotic.
Very potent.
And you turn it into the back of a dump truck. And that dump truck or the white blood cell is going right to where the problem is and dumping it on the problem. So instead of being systemic, what people don't realize is antibiotics are in the category of chemotherapy.
They're so damaging.
I remember hearing that and I was thinking, oh my gosh, but really it's just chemical therapy.
Yeah,
but still, it's to think that you're going to saturate the whole body.
It ruins your gut.
Antibiotics.
It completely wipes out all the good bacteria.
Yeah.
And then people wonder why they keep getting sick. And it's like everything stems from the gut. Like you're wiping it out every time you go and take an antibiotic just for the hell of it.
But I also think about before they had antibiotics and people would die from these things. And I think, how many times over would I have died from minor things if I'd been raised 100 years ago? You know what I mean?
It's so interesting to think of.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
You're into deep topics. You kind of drag us down into deep topics, Maddie.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
No surface level shit here.
Right?
Not allowed.
Right?
We want the juicy topics.
Well, Maddie, we are excited that you have allowed us to be involved in this path to the Olympia. The Olympia to me.
Oh, that just sounds right.
Yes, it is right.
Okay.
We're excited and we are definitely doing this again and seeing what it was that got you the overall at the Olympia.
Oh, could you imagine? Yes. We can't imagine. We're going to imagine it right now, visualizing. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome to chat. And I appreciate you letting me share my story, my long-winded story.
That was nothing. We'll come back and we'll get
Don't worry,
2.0.
we got more. Yeah, we got more. We could talk for days.
Yeah.